Hey everybody, we are at the Neat London HQ and I'm here with Graham, and in the next kind of 10 minutes or so we're going to take you through Neat App Hub mode, what it means, how it works. Hey Graham, how you doing?
Very good, thanks yourself.
Good, yeah, good, thanks.
Start of a new month, new year.
Yeah.
New gadgets, new toys.
It's all go as usual. We're as we record, we're just weeks away from ISE as well.
Yep, so lots of features, announcements coming out then.
Awesome. So let's get into App Hub mode. We've talked about this in the past, but here we're going to try and squeeze it all into kind of 10 minutes or so. So first up, everybody knows Neat, know your devices, used to the conversation about they can run Zoom, they can obviously be Teams native.
Yep.
This is a third option that you have. So talk us through what that means.
So when you've got a device like this, like a touchscreen board, or a Neat board here, you can use it for other things. So great having your Teams with a whiteboard, but not everyone uses Microsoft Whiteboard. So how do we address those customers that have that technology? And we'll talk about what apps are on there. But we've actually developed this in conjunction with our management platform, Neat Pulse. So Neat Pulse has three different tiers, very simply. We have our starter. That allows you to do things like remote management, device management, reboots, etc.
Yep.
But also gives you access to the App Hub.
And that's your free tier, isn't it?
Correct, yeah. So if you scroll down a little bit, you can see you give you all your basic software updates, but also access to the App Hub, and we'll talk about what apps are included because we've done tried and tested apps that we've worked with other partners, whether it's on a collaboration display like this, or it's on the room scheduling display outside on the corridor, digital signage.
Yeah, so your pads here can also be the outside of room, and you can run third-party apps on those as well.
Absolutely. So pick one, for example, AppSpace. It can actually run as digital signage, room booking, but also can be here, showing digital signage on here. So again, different size formats of screens. Visitor check-in, for example, on the Neat frame as well. Get another whole host of partners. It's a very big area we see in this sort of facilities management piece. How do you address it with a single manufacturer devices without having to get different third-party OEMs, but manage it all from Neat Pulse?
So what's the difference when I set up to Pulse Plus, which starts to be part of your paid plan? What do I get then in App Hub?
So again, if you are using App Hub, you get obviously all that standard goodness, but then you get the advantage of custom web apps. We'll talk about that in a second and how we can deploy them, but also access to Neat Share, which we'll talk about as well. How do I get whatever content's on my screen here into my Microsoft Teams meeting? Because that's key. It's great having, I've wheeled this device in maybe, it's in here. How do everyone else on the Teams call, whether they're in the room, 3,000 miles away on the other side on their Teams client or in another Teams room, how do we get this content from there to there? And that's how we've developed Neat Share. So that comes in at the paid level.
Awesome. So take us through the App Hub mode then. So essentially we're talking about a Neat managed app store. So you've worked with these partners, you're happy these apps work correctly, and people can put their board or frame or pad into this mode and then use these devices.
Correct, yeah. So again, in that free tier, these are all the examples of the apps you're going to get in that free tier. So if you are using, say, 22 miles for your room booking and desk booking, etc., you can put that on the frame, make it really accessible to people. So again, click, 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 done. You're up and running within a few minutes, just like you are with any Neat device.
Yeah.
So you're able to push out the application from Pulse down to the Neat device, and we'll show you how you do that in a second from the out-of-box experience. So in terms of sort of room scheduling, collaboration apps, there's facility management, Uma, Robin, Corbett for digital signage, etc. as well. So lots of great applications on here, because I remember a story of one customer. They're building a new tower in the US, and even before you walk in to the building, you've got like 20 apps, on how hot's that room, where's this booking, where's my desk?
Your badging, your vending, your locker,
So what all these applications are trying to do is actually narrow it down so you have one platform for your digital signage, room check-in, room availability, still all linked to 365, as your back-end calendaring.
And that's where typically the pad and frame would be more likely to come in. You'd be running those, you'd have these on reception potentially, you'd have these mounted to the room outside the room.
Yeah, so, and that's actually a funny definition. Room. What is a room? Is it a space? Is it a collaboration area? It might be an open ad hoc area with a board, for example, for ideation, but you may want to reserve it out as well.
Yeah.
So you can put the scheduling pads anywhere, or again, some of these applications, and you can even do it on Teams with line of business applications. You want to order catering, you want to look at the shuttle. So again, lots of integration and powerful pieces you can do on here. So these have all been designed, tried and tested for the Neat pad that sits in the smaller space. Then we come into collaboration areas. So being able to again, use different applications. So if you're not wanting to use Microsoft Whiteboard, for example, you want to use Miro, Lucid, Muriel, for example. These are all third-party, out of the Microsoft Teams ecosystem. But again, they play nicely because you can actually build Miro into your Teams client as well.
Yep.
So lots of integration there. But this is then launching Miro on a large format display that you can then collaborate. And again, Miro have done great work with Miro as well.
And
where
the scenario is here, you'd have a neat board and it's dedicated into App Hub mode, so you mainly use it for Miro.
Correct,
you mainly use it. You can obviously have multiple apps and launch multiple apps, but you can't.
Just like that.
Yeah, there we go. So you're now, this is no longer a Zoom room or a Teams room,
Correct.
It's running in App Hub mode and it's dedicated to this scenario. And we'll talk in a second about how you can bring that into the Teams room.
So, and again, we've got the access to the browser. And again, all these applications that we saw can be controlled by an admin. So let's say they've got, I don't know, a HR workshop and they need Miro for that workshop. You can turn it on, it'll download it, apply it. They can do their workshop and you can remove it then again.
Yep.
So you don't have to leave it on there persistently. You can change it on the fly through Pulse, which I'll show you in a second. And then coming soon, actually just rolling out this week, I believe, is custom web apps. So either some predefined ones like you have with YouTube and Google Maps. They're just predefined URLs. Imagine putting your browser full screen, F11.
Yep.
Is it F11 or 12? Well, I can't remember. Developer mode, full screen. But you can then make one of these URLs a full screen application.
Yeah, so you could build your own in-house.
Correct. So you've got an intranet maybe for, I don't know, room booking or facilities management or for time off, and you want people to be able to walk up and easily book time off or do whatever. You can then containerize that application. So very, very easy to do on there as well. So how do we do it? So within our Neat Pulse platform, up the top here, so we've got our devices, we can see all the devices, but we actually tell you how to do it on here. So if it's a brand new device or it's a device you don't mind resetting, so you go into the device, hit the reset button, and what happens next is you get to enroll it in Pulse. So you get your date, time, network.
This is your out-of-box first run experience.
Correct,
or your hardware reset experience.
Yeah. So if you did have this board running in Teams or Zoom, this is what you do, you'd reset it. And again, it doesn't have to be dedicated to App Hub. So if you want to utilize this board, it was Teams last week, but you want to use applications on it for this week, then reset it.
Yep.
And then after the end of the session or the end of the week, put it back to Teams. So it's not just dedicated to that device, but it obviously needs someone on site to hit that reset button, change the mode, and then you put in your Pulse code. So when you create a room under devices, you then get your boot up mode.
Yeah, this is a really good way to understand it. So I'm gonna set this device up in Zoom rooms, in Team rooms, or in App Hub mode. Correct,
yeah. So once you're then in App Hub mode, you then come to the device, and let's pick a device actually, and we'll go to our device here in London, and you can see my device here. So I've got all my detailed network as you would expect, but under my app settings, this is now where I can toggle what I want on and off. So again, you can see here, Teams and Zoom are a no-no. I just cannot enable it. So again, this means it's an App Hub device while it's running in this mode. And then I can choose all my different applications that I have here available to me. So these are available in my tenant. So again, the end user doesn't have access to these. It's what I have access to as an admin.
And for the paid things like Miro, you do that directly with Miro. You're just surfacing the app there.
Correct, yeah. And so there we have all the applications. The question is, how do we make these applications available to the device? That's again under our applications here. So again, you can turn them on and off for your tenant. So I've got all these ones listed for my room availability. So our Neat Pad. So again, all these different ones. Some are beta, some are trialing and testing. Corbett, Go Bright are some of the new ones we're going to announce very shortly, maybe at ISE. And then we have our boards and frames, what you want to put on these touch interactive screen displays. So again, many of the applications are applicable for both because they've got that scheduling and they've got the, maybe digital signage or wayfinding.
Yeah, like wayfinding, map of the site, that kind of thing, yeah.
And then we have, the other cool piece is our web apps. How do we do a custom app? So I can come in here, put in a URL, so it might be an IP address to a local server, or you put in your DNS address in there, and then the app name, and you give it an icon, and then you can publish it.
So if you've in-house built like a layout of the building or some information about the catering or whatever it is, you can use the pad or the frame as a display, or even the board, I guess, as a display.
Exactly. So if I find, let's find one here that someone's done, on the website. So you can create that as an app, and then have that as a button so you can quickly jump to the website. Nice. So very, very simple. And okay, that's been created as a custom web app. How do I get that to my device? Well, let's go back to my London device. And if I spell London correctly, very difficult one nowadays. I can then browse to my apps and look for the Neat NO app. So if it's been set up for full screen devices, then we would see it. There we go, Neat NO. So I tap that, and now when I go back to the home screen, I've now got a Neat NO app.
Fast.
So very, very simple to push out a device, and there we go.
Yeah.
So you see, you can't see the address bar, so I couldn't go in and
Yeah, it's full frame, yeah.
exit out. And again, one question we've had some from customers is, what access do I have on the network? What can people break out to? Well, it's Wi-Fi or wired to your network, so it's going to follow your rules and your proxies and access control lists. So if you're allowing browser, 443, etc., then you're going to get to these areas. So again, you've got full access to the device on here. So really
take
cool.
us back to app hub mode. So now I want to think about a meeting room scenario.
Yeah.
So we're running Miro and we're doing collaboration and we've got multiple Neat devices. I'm going to flip the camera a little bit so we can see the room system. So we've got a room set up here. So Microsoft Teams room on our right as we look towards the camera, and we're in app hub mode on the Neat board there. So if we're collaborating in a physical space and Teddy is our remote participant, how can we let the remote participant see what we're doing in Miro?
So we slide out the menu and we have an option called Neat Share. So we hit the start button, and what happens now is it's wirelessly sending my content from here, and bring up a pen. So whatever I draw on here, welcome to Neat. So then that's shown on my Teams room on
so
here.
we're seeing that in the Teams room, but also critically, Teddy, who's remote here, flash up the laptop, is receiving that because that's a Teams meeting. And you didn't press anything on the room there, and essentially that's because the room is seeing that as a virtual HDMI input.
Correct,
like someone's jacked in, but you're doing it wirelessly.
Correct, yeah. So there's an option on the Teams client to automatically accept HDMI or ingest. So if that's toggled off, then you have to hit share on your Teams controller. But if it's on, like most people, because you want it simple and you want to walk in and just connect. So again, if I was to plug in my HDMI cable on the table, that would override my Neat Share because physical cable has the priority for everything.
So that would win over
physical always wins. I've got full control, and then we've done this great design, but you think, okay, I need to bring up the website, I need to bring up that. So whatever I'm streaming live from my Neat board here is actually then streamed into the meeting. So everything is live, sent through, and then I can, switch apps and go back to my Miro and say, okay, that's a great idea. Let's.
So this is the scenario where I'm going to have two Neat devices in the room, one dedicated to collaboration, typically whiteboard, might be custom apps, could be anything, and the Microsoft Teams room, and they're all working nicely together.
Correct. The only caveat is, so when we saw my device here, basically what it is, it's paired into the same room. So we have our Bar Pro with our Neat Center and Neat Pad, but we've also added the Neat board to this room.
Right, and that's how when you press share, it knew which room.
It knew which one to share with, so it needs to be on the local network. If this device was in Australia, it's not going to be able to route to the network. So it has to be on the same local network to be able to route that across the local LAN.
Very cool. And this is all, everything we've seen today is GA now, so any combination of devices, are there any device dependencies?
No, it works for anything. And actually a new feature we've added is the ability to move it around as well. So previously you'd have to unenroll and move it to another room. We've now got the ability to move the Neat board to another space. So let's say...
Oh, okay, so maybe if you've got divisible or something.
Correct. Or this is shared between 5 rooms across one floor.
Because of course you could wheel it as well, can't
Absolutely.
you?
You have our adaptive stand or trolley stand. You could move it around and, open up a ticket and say, hey, I want to use the Neat board in app hub mode in room 6. So an admin can come in, simply click move. Where do you want to move it to?
Very nice.
So very, very simple now for admins. So none of this unenrolling, re-enrolling, click, click, done. So again, trying to make it simple and as seamless as possible for the user, but also the admin as well.
And again, if you've got a Neat device, you've got the included free tier of Pulse, so you can start doing this with the apps in the App Store. If you want to do the more advanced web apps framing stuff, that's where you step up to the next tier of Pulse.
Correct, indeed. So again, as part of that free Neat Pulse tier, people can simply sign up and get access to, and then you've got things like this remote control, so you're able to remotely view the controller or scheduler if it's outside the room, but also the front of room display as well. So you'll see the screen and see what's on the far end. So very
nice
simple.
Little bonus demo of the remote scenario. So we're seeing the Microsoft Teams rooms here in this scenario.
So I've got full control of the panel as well. on the device, so I can see, I can change it. Let's say put it in front row.
So this is so useful for people managing rooms to have this experience.
Exactly. You haven't got to run upstairs, 6 flights of stairs. You're there through Pulse, wherever you are in the world, or even from your, your mobile phone. You logged into your tenant earlier on your phone. Very, very simple to manage from there. And then again, if you've got ideas that you've got an app that you want to submit to the App Hub, again, on our App Hub page here, you have the option to submit your request as well. So if you've got an application that you utilize that you think, okay, it'd be great if we could have this application embedded rather than a web app, then you can submit that idea. But the web apps, I think they're going to be so powerful.
Particularly for organisations that want to do their own thing, just being able to do it, publish it, update it, and have complete control.
Correct, yeah.
Really nice.
Whether it's an internal address or a website's hosted in Azure or whatever it might be. So another example of a custom web app I was showing at actually Ignite was Windows 365 desktop PC.
Okay.
So being able to come in.
That's just a web app. Yeah.
Launch your PC, access whatever you need, hit Neat Share whilst you share your PowerPoint or Visual Studio Code or whatever you might be working on into the Teams call very, very simply from your virtual desktop.
Awesome. Well, I think we hit inside 15 minutes probably. Thanks, Graham, for showing us that. If people want to find out more, we'll put all the links below. And if you've got any questions, just drop them in the comments and try and stump Graham. Thanks,
Cheers,
mate.
Tom. Thank you.
Nice one.